Hi everybody, we're back for part 2 of the Cat in the Hat drawing, and as you can see, after part 1 I went ahead and took my Sharpie, went around, went over all of my lines and colored in my red, and for this part we're going to do the bottom half. And as I said in the first half, if you wanted to stop right there, you've got the Cat in the Hat right there. If you are happy with that, that's great. But if you wanted to do the rest of his body like it is on the actual book cover of the original book, The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss, then here we go. We're going to finish it up now, okay? So in the first part we drew this part of his arm, and he's got his hands here in front of him, and the fingers are interlaced, you know, kind of like that. And as with a lot of cartoon characters, he's got 4 fingers instead of 5, and that just makes it easier for the cartoonist to draw. It's a lot quicker, and so we're going to make sure we do it the exact way they've got it on the book cover. Okay, so first thing we're going to do at the end of the arm here, he's got these white gloves on, so we're going to do our first line is like kind of like this, like a real curly Q letter C. Okay, pretty easy. You can write the letter C, right? C is for cat, so that pretty much is a really easy part. And then we got a little tiny upside down V, okay? And then this line here creates a little V. We just did a little boop, little tiny line right there, but it continues out kind of like that. It goes down and then in toward the middle of his body and curves down just a tiny bit. Okay, and then we've got the line up here curves up and in toward his body. You see that? So it's kind of like, if you turn it outside, it's almost like a bowl or a cup with a base on it. See, and both sides come out just a little bit because that's where his fingers are going to be. Okay, and first one we're going to do is his thumb, which is kind of pointy like that. Actually, it leans back a little bit more than that. Hold on. Erase. Let's go backwards a little bit. Backwards like that. Okay, back out toward the outside of his body, then it curves around and comes down in like that. Okay, a little bit like that. And his other thumb, you just do basically the opposite. Okay, outward curve and around, and then back down like that. Okay, his 2 thumbs are touching each other like that, and then there's this little tiny lump kind of right there, teensy tiny little upside down V, and then this line curves down and around like that. That's the back of his left hand. And then we're going to do a backwards C, kind of like that. Little tiny backwards C, much smaller than the backwards one over here, because this hand, his hand is kind of wrapping around his belly part of his body right there. So this part is going to be smaller because it's farther away. Okay? then from right there at the bottom of the C, that's where his belly is. Okay? And then there's just one more curved line there, and if you have already guessed, that is his left wrist coming down like that, and we can actually bring this line down to meet his hand. Okay, and now we've got the other fingers that we're going to put in here. Alright, first finger, curved line like this, across, and curve it around, and come back. Then we're going to curve around again, and look what we just did. We just made his first finger here, and his other finger here. So now we can close in just that little bit right there. Thumb, thumb, first finger. Actually, this first finger can be a little bit longer. So let's go all the way out to the edge of his hand, just about to that other line, like that. Could make it actually a little tiny bit longer, but we'll come back to that with our eraser. Okay, and this finger doesn't need to be quite so thick. Bring that in just a tiny bit, and then we'll do it again. Curve, curve, curve. See that? Now we've got those two fingers, and we just got one more because he's already got 1, 2, 3. But this finger here points down a little bit, and then he's got his little pinky curves down like that and comes in, and then we've got one more line going into the bottom of his glove right there. And now we've just got one finger left, and that's his little pinky, which, if we make a line going from here to there to that third finger, now we just have to put the point of the pinky starting back here, and since it's a pinky, it's smaller. Okay, and actually those two fingers are supposed to touch. Let's move this one just a tiny bit, erase that off of there, and make it come down and just touch that other one. Okay, and that's the whole thing right there. You've just got you continue your shading with your little hash marks. These kind of go around his arm, because his arm is also a cylinder, right? New word that we learned, cylinder. Alright, we've got some hash marks down here showing this part is shaded, because the light is shining this way, and so his face is nice and bright. The front of his body here is nice and bright, but we've got a little bit of shading here on this arm like that, because it's back there wrapped around his body and kind of in shadow. Okay, these actually go out to the ends of his arm, almost to the very end. There's a little bit of a white-ish kind of edge going around there. Curve, 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 like that. Curve, 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 all the way up to his glove. Okay, and then a little bit of cross hatching down there. And when you go over with your Sharpie, you can refine this a little bit and make it look a little bit better. Okay, his finger here doesn't actually have a squarish end on it. It's a nice rounded kind of shape, and This finger isn't quite as thick as that. Come in just a little bit. That's better. Okay? Always draw lightly when you do your initial sketch. Okay? That's why we start with a sketch, because, I mean, only the cartoonists who draw the Cat in the Hat professionally all the time, they can just draw with a marker, just totally draw the thing in one try, and they draw it excellently every single time they do it, because they've been doing it for a long time. Practice, right? But we aren't professional cartoonists right now. We don't draw the Cat in the Hat every single day, so we go slowly, we do light lines, we make sure we try to look at all the little details, all the little fur kind of lines sticking out there. This little bit has maybe a little bit of lines coming down like that. These lines actually get a little bit closer to his bow tie there. Okay, and he's got some little bit of shading just inside, but this line here is a lot darker because that indicates his arm is coming off of his body like that. Okay, and then this down here is a lot darker because that's underneath his arm, and then that's about it, and it's ready for Sharpie. And I hope you guys enjoyed drawing along. This is it's a fairly complicated drawing, and it's another one of those things where he's so famous that if you don't get it really close to the original drawing, you might be a little bit discouraged, but keep trying, keep looking at stuff, looking at how it's created. If I really compare the book cover to this, yeah, his hat could have been curved out more back here like this, could have been bent in a little bit more like that. His bow tie doesn't quite come out this far in reality. In reality, on the book cover, his bow tie probably comes to about here to his hat, the level with his hat brim like that, and the other end of his bow tie comes out just a teeny bit past where the side of his face is right there. So yeah, I drew that extra big. I got a little crazy there, but when you draw something that doesn't look like the original, but you're still kind of drawing that character, and you put your own style into it, and you kind of change it the way you want to change it, we call that artistic license. Okay, and it's not really like a driver's license. It's basically what you're doing with your style and putting your style into something and doing it the way you want to do it. Okay, I always say it's your art. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not art. You do it the way you want to. You can make his tie drooping down on the sides. You can make him with no tie at all. You can make him with a nice cool collar, with a little diamond hanging from it. You can give him a party hat or a unicorn horn. It's yours. Okay, you do it the way you want to do it. Have fun with it. That's the most important part. Okay, guys, thank you so much for drawing along with me. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments below what other drawings you want to see. Okay, and I'll do my best to keep creating videos for you guys to draw along with. Thanks, and have a great day.